Trying to get IG to go. You can still see me, right? You still see me on the. Do you can you see us on Instagram? Yeah, because some reason I can't. It won't let me even check my live.
I open my
Okay,
phone, say
cool,
live on Instagram.
perfect, perfect. All right. I think this is the quickest I've been able to get this started since. Am I lagging? Oh goodness.
Yeah, it's lagging a little bit.
Am I lagging a little bit? Yep. If it ain't one thing, it's another.
Every time, but we still go for it. So we good. Yeah, on
Yeah.
Instagram. I'm looking at it now.
Okay, cool. All right. I actually got first of all, how you doing today? Let me just start there.
Man, tired, tired. Man, I'm jumping right in the bed as soon as we done. Wash my face, do all that, and man, I'm getting right in
Oh,
the bed.
man.
I am tired.
One of them days, huh?
Yes, yes. Yeah,
Wow.
I had to
Okay. Well, I'm
stay
glad.
up. I had to find stuff to do to stay up for this, cause man, if I lay down, I was gonna have to send a message like, I ain't gonna make it.
Well, I appreciate you, pushing through it. Okay, for this live. Okay. If anybody's watching or viewing, this is live with Brother Love and Brandy Yates. We do these lives, talk about different topics. Relationships, dating, healing. You know, sometimes we just vent a little bit, and that's okay too. But I'm glad that Brandy has pushed through the tiredness to deliver some stuff. I'm sure you got some good stuff. You know, um, but yeah, if anybody's watching, um, like I said, I'm Jasper Lovett. I go by Brother Love. You know, Brandy Yates, accountability coach. You do. You be promoting some stuff. I always say I need to get professional like you. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got nothing I ain't working on no book or nothing just yet. So I ain't
That's
got nothing to promote.
well, I'm glad to hear you say that because I don't. I ain't gonna lie, I don't. I just man be in mode and I just post if I want to post. I don't even be promoting. So I'm glad you said that. Then give me a little bit encouragement to just keep posting. Then shoot.
Yeah, I be seeing you promoting your book, you know what I'm saying, promoting your services. I feel like you be doing it, but
Okay.
yeah, like, hey, I see you. See you out there. But
Yeah.
we got a couple topics. Like I said, I actually got two topics. One is from a post that you got that's been like it's been a lot of interaction on it, and I think we should speak on that a little bit. And then another one is from a post that I had that we had talked about we was going to do something with. So,
Okay.
but yeah, we'll start with yours first. Hold on one second. Uh, I can't do that because I can't. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure I can see everything. Okay. All right. This is from a post that you've you've done recently, and like I said, I see a lot of people. The engagement on it is like pretty dope. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, we got to get into that for sure. When I saw it, I was like, I don't be wanting to get too excited because I want to talk about all the stuff. Okay, like let's get
Man,
into all.
we ain't got enough time, man, because we between the both of us, man, we got so much stuff. Man, there's not enough time within our separate schedules to like. get on there and just go, because we got some stuff we can dive into, and I
For
think that
sure.
people will love it because it's it's real interesting. It needs to be talked about, and then it comes from it's a good conversational piece. You know what I'm saying? No, it ain't the drama or entertainment that they want, but
Yeah.
it's as I like to say, it's for the culture. It's help for the culture. So
Definitely, definitely. I agree with that. I agree. These conversations are necessary, and it ain't. I think it's enough people talking about the hot topics, the juicy, whatever. But it ain't. Some of them conversations aren't really, forwarding, pushing us forward. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, the conversations we have, and I feel like, we definitely attempting that at least. you know. But yeah, let's get on into it. We knock this out real quick, that way you can get to sleep. Okay. Yeah. Right. All right. So, how do you know when it's time to give up on someone you're dating? Now, can I just ask you what inspired this? Was it a post you saw, or what inspired this post?
so actually it was a post I made years ago on my Facebook page, and
Mm,
so I was just going down my memories, and I just decided to reshare it. The question again, especially because TikTok lets you do the type post now. So I just decided to reshare a post that I made like years ago. I forgot what year I made that post. But it was also a part of personal experience too. I
mm,
was just dealing with like, dang, you really feeling somebody. Y'all talk, what I like to call it. At that point, I didn't know that's what it was, but y'all talk, you get a little breadcrumbing going on, do enough breadcrumbing where it'd be like, okay, we on the same path. This person giving me attention. Anytime I call, they there. Anytime I want them to pull up, they there. They receive me with open arms. But it was like a part of me knew that the direction I was growing in, they weren't growing with me. But it
mm,
was like I did not want to let them go because I was holding on to the good parts of them. But I was lying to myself because they always talk about, weigh the good and the bad. So I was holding on to the good of them, and I was making that be like, this I ain't gonna find this nowhere else. So
mm,
just stick around a little longer. And I was fooling myself because it was like, even though that good was there was way more bad than good. So it's like, even if the person ever came around to being who I wanted him to be, there was so much damage done, so much like trauma and arguing and trust issues. It was so much of that done to where I had to ask myself, like, girl, if he do decide to be with you, you gonna trust? Do you trust? Like, where are y'all? Where that's gonna leave you and him? Because where does that leave room for you're growing to be a healthy, healed person? Where does that leave you in the picture if you got all this damage and baggage from y'all just messing around? Y'all wasn't even in a relationship. So I had to tell myself or ask myself, like, why are you still holding on? What are you holding on to? What is it going to take for you to let go? Like, hello, the signs are there. Why are you still there? So that question that I posted years ago was inspired by like a personal experience. But from observation, clearly, I just left a TikTok panel before we got on here, and
mm,
this was one of the things. Now they didn't even address my post, but they were some of the people on there was saying that they was like, man, we got to be honest with ourselves and tell ourselves like, hey, we got damaged a lot of times because we actually stayed too long with a person.
mm.
So
There's man so much truth in that, and you know really really like when you prolonging the process, like I feel like it's it's something there, and I don't think it's the same for everybody.
mm, no.
I feel like everybody got something different that they hold on to
Mm-hmm.
when they don't want to let it go, and they don't but I question like, so what got you? What was the final? That got you to the point where you like, okay, I need to let this go for real. This like for real right now. Like what got you to that place?
For me, it was being honest with myself on the things I've seen people go through and the disconnect I've seen in people who actually are holding on. And you can tell they holding on by a thread, but because they're counting the years and not making the years count, you can tell that that thread is getting thinner and thinner. But they pushing through, they smiling, but you can see like the death in the smile. You know what I'm saying? Like you can see the forcedness of them trying to look like they're happy that they're together. So I had to ask myself, is that what you want? Is that, I mean, because you can have what you want. If that's the role you want to play for your life, you can have it. Just stay there, hold on. Or you can go and open yourself up, free yourself from him, and actually be ready for the person that is actually willing to give you exactly what you want without the fight, without the struggle, without the trust issues, no, without the gaslighting, all of that. So I think that right there was my final straw. It was like it wasn't nothing he did, because if you ask me what he did, shoot, it was so many final straws. Shoot, I didn't take them, because I wasn't ready to let go. So it was like I had to be honest and choose myself. What did I want? Because I always tell people, you ain't gonna leave until you tired enough. I wasn't tired enough. So once I got tired enough, I only got tired enough because I finally decided to just choose myself instead of doing it because I don't want him to be hurt. It's like, baby, what about you? You don't want you to be hurt either, right? So,
Now that makes sense. Like you get to a point where you like, well, yeah, I can see the potential in this, and I can see the goodness in this person, but I it ain't a mutual thing. Like like it's not a yeah, that would be good for them for me to stay, but what about me? Like what about how I feel?
exactly.
And I feel like I've been through that similarly. I had an ex that I broke up with, and actually I broke up with her twice, and it's not it's not funny. It's not funny. No, seriously, no. This like it was necessary. It was actually a very enlightening experience, right? And oh man, see, this is the problem with putting this stuff on the internet, and like this is the problem. I don't want to get no inboxes or nothing like that. But I'm gonna tell the story anyway without too much. But me and you know this person were involved, and uh, I got a feeling like, you know what, something ain't right about this, but I really didn't know what it was. I didn't have the words to interpret like what I was feeling, and I was just like, man, some just don't feel right. You know what I'm saying? Like some just, and that's not that she was doing anything foul or anything like that. I just knew that, I was like, I was young, and I'm like, I don't know how stuff should feel, but I just like this don't feel like I want it to feel. So let's break up. And we end up breaking up, and later on the line we got back together, and oh man. Um so we got back together, and then I was like, okay, now I know why we don't need to be together. Okay, then I figured it out. Okay, like I figured it out. Long story short, I figured it out, and that's how I knew. Like, okay, I know what I'm missing from this person. I know what I'm missing from the relationship that I want to grow into marriage and all of that. So, I know this person don't have it, and I think that's a difficult thing for everybody to get to the conclusion of. Like, I think we hold on to people because everybody like to say, "Hey, you never know."
This is that's why these conversations are needed because Along with the you never know, this is what people say. I see this happening a lot. And I'm not sure I too much agree with it at this generation, but this is what they say. Y'all just give up way too fast now. People used to be together for a long time. Why y'all just give up too easily now? And I'd be like, from what I see, people give up too late.
Right.
We're not in the same generation as before. But what's crazy is, in the same breath of saying that, I do agree with that. Sometimes we're so hurt because we're in the hurt culture. We're so hurt to where there are cases where, yeah, you do give up too fast, looking for perfection or whatever it is you're looking for. But it's like, man, I don't know if the argument, I don't even know how to have that argument of, yeah, don't give up too fast, because um I'm not collabing with her, but we're kind of close in talk about her group. But when you look at the domestic violence, the rates, the percentage, the high rates in that, I'm just like, these were people who should have gave up way sooner, but they
Mm.
didn't. So it's almost like, man, I don't know if I even want to touch the situation or the topics of, people that's giving up too soon, unless we got like some like key points. You know what I mean? Like, to like give people like situation and scenarios of when not to give up too soon. Because I think people are, they're looking at that and they're like, man, I don't want to give up too soon, because you're right. He may change. She may change, or, what if? And it's like, I think that is keeping us in more toxic situations, than the other side of, well, just give up if it ain't what you want. So it's, man, I don't know. I don't know how to have that discussion on that one.
I feel like, I know for me, I didn't look at it as giving up. I think that's a key thing in this. It's like I didn't give up. I got to the root of, is this for me or is it not? And that's really what it I feel like I gave it a fair shot. For one, I'm the type of person that, like, I don't do the X's thing. I don't do the spin the block. I've never been a fan of spin the block. Okay. In
Mm,
life, I've never been a fan of spin the block. This is the only ex who I actually spent the block with. And I feel like it was worth it to, we had enough built up that I felt like it was worth at least trying to spin the block.
mhm.
Okay. But I didn't give up on us. I just knew who she was and knew who I was. I knew what I wanted. I knew what she wanted. And I knew it didn't align. I knew it didn't line up, you know. And we had the conversation. It was very tough. I was young at the time, and it was my first time breaking up with a person like that. But it was all necessary moving forward. Moving forward, I knew that I want something that, you know she wants something is different. We want two different things. So if we're not working on getting married, or having those discussions, then I mean, to me, what am I holding on to?
Yeah.
Like, what exactly am I holding on to? If I know I want to get married, I know that's the type of relationship I want to have with the person I married,
Mhm.
and they, we don't have that relationship. Then I need to stop this and go find that relationship. That's how I looked at it. I didn't look at it as I gave up. I feel like I gave it. I feel like I gave it the fairest shot I can give it.
See, I like the way you broke that down, because you don't see it being said like that. You see people always talking about people giving up too soon. It's not like how grandma and them was and back in the day, but you don't see them bring context to it. You don't see them break it down like you did. Like, okay, if you've had certain conversations, if you guys, I would like to say your values align, core values at that. Have you sought it out that deeply? Do you have the proper conversations, which a lot of people aren't? A lot of people are getting together off of, surface level things. and then they're attached to the surface level stuff. But if you've had these conversations, like digging in, asking the questions, because the one thing about it is the marriage. I think we've talked about it before. Women, they got a biological time clock on marriage, and you'll see women be with men for years, and they're unhappy because, not necessarily because the man is making them unhappy, because they're probably, they're operating like they should, but they're unhappy because the thought of them being married is what they really wanted. But because they didn't have the conversation with the guy, they don't know where he stand on marriage. So they're just hoping that they're a good enough woman to where a light bulb will come off and he'll be like, you know what? She deserved marriage. And I'm like, like that's like these conversations need to be had, because yeah, you gonna find yourself sticking around hoping that somebody hears in your head that you ready for marriage, and then you're gonna hope that they give that to you, but then you don't want to let it go, because then now y'all probably done brought kids in the world, y'all probably done moved in together. It's like, so you living a life meshing everything together as if y'all married, but you're still very unhappy because this man ain't even talk to you about marriage. And it's like, I
Mhm.
feel like when you have the conversations, as you stated, have those conversations early. That way, once you vetted the person, the deep conversations, and like you say, you spun the block, got down to the nitty gritty, and you was like, okay, I learned some more, but I think that was my confirmation. Like, yeah, nah, this ain't it. So you left. You didn't give up. You did the proper vetting, with her to know that wasn't it. But
You
people,
just said it. You just said it. That was the vetting. That's vetting right there. Okay. And I think that's the part where people just forget. You fall in love and you forget that you still vetting. You still vetting. It ain't over. Okay. It's not over.
what is it? It's a I don't even know the slogan. It's a marathon. It ain't a race, right? It's a
Exactly.
marathon. It ain't a what is a 100 dash. That ain't how this work.
Exact. And I think that's the part people get so comfortable with what they're doing, they forget. I'm not finna pretend it's marriage if we ain't married. Okay, like I'm not finna pretend that. Like if we ain't married, we ain't finna act married. If we boyfriend and girlfriend, we boyfriend and girlfriend. If we're just dating, we're just dating. Okay, I've never been outside of the lines of what we're actually doing. But people need to hear that. They need to know that the vetting process doesn't stop because you fell for this person.
Mhm.
It don't stop. It don't stop because you like them. It doesn't. That doesn't mean it's over. I've liked girls. I've dated girls and liked them and stopped dating them. Okay, because it was over.
Yeah.
I didn't give up. I've never given up on nobody. I just the give up thing. It's like I'm scared. Are you afraid? Like, are you afraid to go there to say this person is not it? That don't mean there's nothing wrong with that person. That don't mean they aren't good people.
Yep.
But I'm just not. I just don't believe that we should get to this space where it's like everyone is a possible match. Some people just ain't it. They not. I know. I get it. They just not.
But we be playing with Play-Doh our whole life. We just be trying to mold this person and turn it and twist it and squeeze it. Like, we try to make them fit. Like, golly, it just is not, and it's okay, And I think we think like, well, if I don't get it now, I'll never have it. Like, no, it's okay. Somebody is out there. But if you settle for this right now for years, you'll never find it. Because you over here playing Play-Doh with a human being trying to make them fit into your idea. So I don't know, man. It's because it's like people be like, even what you just said, right, with the marriage part, people, this what I found, and I've talked to people, and this how I know they be lying to themselves. People who believe in marriage and want to get married, you start to see them dwindle down, and they start to say, well, everybody don't want marriage at this point. So when did that idea change? Because you was adamant about getting married in one marriage now. But because the
Mm.
person you're with is not, pressing the issue or looking like they're going to propose to you or want to be married to you, now your narrative change of it's okay, everybody don't have to get married. That's settling because you don't really believe that. You really want marriage. But because you don't want to let that person go, now you change the narrative and well, everybody don't want to get married. We know, but you do. So why settle?
Woo. Look, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt somebody. Let me just tell you. That right there gonna
I
hurt
know you done
somebody.
seen them posts where it's so many people now at the defense. You could be talking about marriage and how great it is. It's gonna always be people in the comments, more than one, that comes with the defense. Well, everybody don't want to get married. That's great. I'm not talking to you then. So why say it? Why be intimidated by the people who advocate for marriage? If you don't want to get married, then this TikTok ain't for you. This video ain't for you. Click on off. You don't have to say, well, everybody don't want to get married. Oh, okay, I know, we know. Okay, this for the ones who want to get married.
Exactly. But look,
It's a little bitterness in there. It's a little hurt
yeah,
and bitterness in that comment.
for sure, for sure. You could tell, like because like I said, it's not even relevant that you say that. Okay, everyone knows that everybody, and that's what I try to make it clear that I'm not telling people that everybody should get married. I'm talking to the people who want to get married. I'm talking to the people who are looking for their person. I'm not trying to tell everybody this is how they should live their life.
Exactly.
Because I don't want nobody to think that it's not okay to just be single. It's being single is fine. Like like a bad thing at all. But like you said, we talking to the people who really who trying to trying to get there.
Mhm.
Simple as that.
Yep.
But look, I'm gonna go ahead and switch gears. That was good. I didn't know I didn't know we was gonna be telling some actual life experience stories.
You kind of got away a little bit from it, but I dig it. I dig it because I'm about being transparent without telling everything. So I like how you did that. I like that.
That's right. I didn't know. I promise I didn't know you was gonna do that. Cause look, but this, I know, like I said, putting that stuff out there can be a little,
Hmm.
I hope my ex wouldn't watch this and be like, "Why you say that?" I'm sure that she don't really care. But that's the truth. I didn't say anything that wasn't true. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like that was and I feel like somebody should hear that and know that you can have a mature conversation with a person. It's gonna be hard. It's
Hmm.
gonna be hard. It's not an easy conversation at all, especially when you've invested some time with a person.
Yep.
But do it anyway.
Yep. And before you move to the next question, on that note, I want to shout you out because I like how you did that because you also when you told your story, and that's what I just want to tell people. Sometimes there's times where you have to tell the story as the victim. But sometimes you can tell the story without making the other person look bad. You will never see me tell a story about my ex-husband being bad. I have some
Mm.
stories, but best believe I have some stories. I'm the one that initiated the divorce. But I'm never finna give a story that puts him out there to be the villain. You know what I'm saying? So the way you did that it was great and mature because you told the story in a way that never blamed her, but you made it all about you. This wasn't what I wanted. When I went back, we had some experiences, but I realized that that's not what I wanted. So I like how you did that. I don't know if you even noticed that you did that, but that's how you did it.
No, that that's just the truth. I'm just trying to tell the truth,
Yeah.
because like I said, I can't speak for her, and I don't want to speak for her, and it wasn't no, like you said, it wasn't no villain in the story. That's just what happened, you know.
Yeah.
And if she told the story, it might be a little different, but the facts still remain of what happened. I
Yeah.
I wasn't you know, hero or villain in that. I just know what happened. That's it. You know.
Yep.
And I would rather I rather you know the actual truth of what happened and know that it wasn't cute, it wasn't pretty. Okay.
Yep.
She wasn't happy about it. Let me just be clear. She was not happy about this conversation. But at the end of the day, I know she respects the fact that I had the conversation with her and didn't try to play with her feelings and
Yep.
didn't lead her on and didn't, like at the end, you gotta respect people for being honest with you at the end of the day,
Exactly. Hmm.
for sure. So yeah. All right, so I'm gonna switch it up. This is I didn't mean for this to relate. Okay, I didn't think these two subjects would relate at all. Okay, because I didn't know that's where we was going with that part. Okay,
Well,
but
I
I
like
did
when it
it
happened that way, so I like
for,
that. I
for
like that.
sure, for sure,
Alignment. It's aligning. I like that.
for sure. So I did a video. I did a video a while back. Basically, the video was like, you let a person change you. You've been with people, and you let them change who you are. Like you let them make you forget who you were because of whatever experience y'all had. So I put this up for the. Is it up there? Yeah.
Yeah.
So did not try to do this. I promise. But yeah, just going to because I made that video because it's very frustrating to see how people get in these relationships and come out of it a whole nother person because of whatever happened. And it's like I feel like you giving a person power when you do that. I feel like you giving them power that you shouldn't give them when you can't be who you are because of whatever experience happened with them. And now the next person has to suffer. They can't get the full extent of who you really are because you gave it to the wrong person, and now you have to be a whole different person in order to function. I just don't agree with that. You know what I'm saying? So you know, um, has an ex. I'm not asking you. I'm not asking you to put your business out there. But like, do you know any? Do you have perspective on people changing after an ex? After they broke up with an ex, or whatever.
So, so I'm gonna use me first, and I'm gonna say yes, I changed.
Okay.
The difference with me though is that I changed for the better.
Mm.
You see a lot of people change for the worse. I see a lot of people now change for the worse. I think the difference with me and them is that when I was with my person, when I was with the person, clearly it wasn't my person, but when I was with the person, I didn't put my identity into him. So I think
Mm.
people lose their individuality in their relationships. Like they feel like, I can't have friends. I can't have a social life outside of my partner. It's just about my partner. It's just about the kids. If you choose to do that, that's fine because that's just what you want to do. But I feel like people lose themselves in relationships. And so now, because I done lost who I was or should have been in my relationship, when that person leave me, they done took my whole identity with them. So now I'm all over the place. I don't even know who the hell I am because all I knew was I was the wife or the husband or the girlfriend or the boyfriend. That's who my identity was wrapped up in. So everything I did, whether it was a job, a business, whatever I did in life, it literally was only because of that person. So when they leave me, they take me with them. So they took my soul with them, and now I'm just an empty vessel. And what they say, the devil, the idle mind is a devil's playground. I'm just an idle vessel now. And so the enemy coming in, the devil, whatever life, whatever coming in, anger, bitterness, trauma responses again, hurt, all of that, betrayal, it's all coming in now because you are an idle vessel because everything that you had built in yourself left when that person left. because your identity was in them. So I feel like when people are like that, then yes, you change for the worse. I never built my identity in that person. So I was hurt when we got divorced, we separated first, and then eventually filed for divorce. So I was hurt doing that, but I was hurt out of embarrassment, not hurt because I feel like I didn't know who I was. So then
Mm,
once I got past my embarrassment stage, I was like, bruh, I'm built for something. This right here, this finna become something. Eventually, it became conquering relationships. A life coach. I didn't know that at the time, but that's what I built it to. So turning your pain into passion, pain into purpose, whatever you want to say, that's what I did because I kept my identity even within my marriage. I didn't lose myself.
mm. I don't even know what to say. What do I say after that?
You got a lot to say. What?
No, that was very good and very man, like that perspective is going to help somebody because you don't even. I like how you turned it all the way around. Like you gave it a whole. You gave us a whole 360 on the process. And what you did and how it worked, and that's going to help somebody. Like I'm man, that's oh man, that's real good. But so what is you? So let me ask you this. So were you conscious? Were it was you keeping your identity throughout that process a conscious effort, or did you just get at the end of it and like, hold up, I'm still, like how do you like what do you think you did differently that other people might not be doing?
So I think throughout the whole process, I didn't. You know how people. Let me say this. I got to figure out how to say this because I do believe in respecting your partner. But you know how people change everything about themselves for their partner? I didn't do that.
Mm,
If you don't like weave in my hair, baby, I was wearing weave before I got with you. That's not finna stop because that's not a disrespect to you. This is who I want, to be. And plus you got with me knowing that I wear weave. So why would I stop that to please you? You know what I mean? So it's like I think the small things like that. If I always had some me time to read books or take myself out to eat, take myself out to a movie, whatever that was, why would I stop that when I was doing that before you just because you don't like it? How is that disrespectful to my union by having self-care? By having alone time. So it's like and those things were arguments like even with him when he was doing things I was trying to, well, husbands don't do this and husbands don't do that, and I had to ask myself like, but what is he doing that was, what I'm saying, that was disrespectful to us, or was it just an idea that I heard because other people say they husbands don't do X, Y, and Z, or they wives don't do X, Y, and Z. Was I trying to build an idea in my marriage based off what other people were saying? So it's like I always battle within my marriage with that because it was like I was trying to do marriage right, but I also didn't want to fall into like a cult of what other people, how they thought marriage should go. So it was like I never fully, I guess you could say, I never fully dived all the way in. I don't
mm,
know. I'm just now thinking about it as I'm saying it. Like maybe I didn't dive all the way in because I was still trying to figure it out. So I knew what I didn't want because I know even in my family, I've seen women lose themselves in marriages and they don't like they their whole world is about him to where he was able to go do whatever he wanted, like outside kids, beat on her, any of that. And she couldn't do anything. She couldn't go nowhere. She couldn't say nothing because her identity was in him. And I knew I didn't want that. You know what I'm saying? But along with not one that, I was still trying to figure out how do I want to do marriage? Because like what you said, me and him ain't talk about that stuff. All we knew we was in church. We didn't want to fornicate. We both was in church ministry. Then you got the church people in your ear. So all we knew is if we do this, God he gonna bless it because we doing it in Jesus' name. So we didn't have the hard conversations that we should have had. So all throughout the marriage, I'm battling this. Like, how do I do marriage? And not be like somebody else, not lose myself like I see a lot of people lose themselves. So I don't know. It was, I guess I never got that deep into where I changed enough to where when we got divorced, I felt like I just didn't know who I was. Does that make sense? I
No,
felt
that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm hearing what you're saying as it never to me. What I'm hearing you say is losing who you were was it really never was an option.
like,
And if to lose yourself you have to be married, then you might not want to be married, right? Is that, you
mm-hmm,
know? But
mm-hmm,
I totally understand that, and man, it brings us so much stuff. I don't even want to get into a lot of marriage stuff, but I think one thing that me and my wife actually do right is try to give a person the space to be who they're gonna be. Now that's not a easy thing, and that's something that we have had to work on.
mm-hmm,
Okay, and but I do agree with you when you talk about things of how marriage should look to other people when it's really about how it looked to us. Like it ain't about how it looked to everybody else. Like,
mm-hmm,
and I don't think a lot of people. I think people need to hear that. Even that's even though that's not per se what we. I think that's something that you definitely need to hear. Like, if this who I was when we got together,
mm-hmm,
why do you think that's finna? Why do you think that's changing me? Like why do you think I'm gonna change that? We never even had a discussion about me changing that. You
mm-hmm,
know, like if I was giving relationship advice before we got married, brother love is dead once we get married. Like, which that's not what happened with us. Like, but I'm just saying, just that as an example. Like, is it over now? Because we're married. Like, it shouldn't be.
mm-hmm.
We shouldn't want that for each other. You shouldn't want to change. You know, and me and my wife have had to go through this where the identity of the title, husband and wife, ain't got nothing to do with who we've been in order to get married. Okay, and I think that's more of something that I can admit that I had to realize that I'm looking at my wife and looking at my girl who I love as two different people. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm treating I had to relearn how to look at my wife like the woman I fell in love with and wanted to marry, and not just this title that I think comes with, you know what I'm saying? Like this title, this stuff that comes with the title, and how that should look, and you know what I'm saying? Like it's just ridiculous. Like no, this is not who you married. This ain't why you wanted to get married.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's, man, that's it's touchy because it's like I'm with you when it's like when you say y'all kind of struggle with how to do the giving each other space and things like that because I don't know for you, but I feel like for our generation a lot, it's like we aren't really taught the logistics. We're taught,
Mm,
that's your wife, that's your husband, like, just, this. So it's like I get I gotta cleave, right? But what does cleaving look like? Does that mean I betray my spouse or my marriage by going to the movies by myself? Like what does that look like? And I feel like the idea that's thrown out is that like it's just you got to do everything together. Like it literally has to be everything together. Now I'll consult you, yes. Hey babe, what you got going on Thursday? I plan on doing X, Y, Z. I'll do stuff like that. I'm not just gonna go like if I was single and just do it just because I want to do it. No, I'm gonna consult you and include you in that, out of respect. But like, I mean, of course, Bay probably may get mad if I go to the movie by myself without him. But these are the things that we talk about beforehand. Like, how do you feel if I have my alone time? What do you think? Because you never know. People may have trust issues where their partner was doing their thing and was out there doing their thing. So but these conversations happen before marriage, right? I didn't know that. We ain't know that. We just got married. We just thought God was gonna, because we both was in church. God was because he honors marriage, right? So we just thought he was gonna work that thing out. And yeah, I found out the hard way. That's not that's not how that go. So I don't know.
I just want to say that every conversation, you're not gonna get every conversation before marriage. You're not. Like
True.
that's you're not gonna get to all of it before marriage. Some stuff you don't even know you need to get ready for at all.
You
You
beat
know.
me. You beat me because that was my next question to you.
Uh,
That was my next question to you because I was going to ask you. I feel like I know the answer now, but I was going to ask you, do you ever think there is a time where people just are simply ready for marriage, but because they had the conversations? Like, because you're right. Like, how do you know when you've had all the conversations you're supposed to have before marriage? That's not
that's it.
possible, right?
No, it's not. I think that's a very good question, and I think that there's no way that you will go through every question before marriage. But I do think what your responsibility is to make sure you are aligned on the things that you are supposed to be aligned on. I think that's very true. But some stuff you can't go through until you get married because it's not a thing until you get married. You don't know that you're supposed to do certain things until you then got married because it was never an issue when you was boyfriend and girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I believe that marriage is an entirely different. It's an entirely different thing, and there's a way to know that you're marrying the right person. But as far as being in marriage, there's a million conversations that's gonna be brand new.
Mm-hmm.
Say a million conversations, but I can't say I've had a conversation, even in the worst of conflict that me and my wife has had. I can't look at her and say, that sounds completely not you. No, it's you. It's
Mm-hmm.
you. That's who you are. Like I might not have understood in this area the depth of certain things and the background of certain things. And, you know, I might not have understood that completely before marriage, but it still lines up with who you are, and I feel like, conversation, some stuff is just until you get to going and decide this is the life you want to live, you don't even know you need to have a conversation until some stuff go down. Me and my wife didn't know that we was going to make space for each other to, do certain things and support it before marriage because we didn't do that.
Right.
We didn't do stuff like that. But having kids, you know what I'm saying, and having life get busier and busier, we decided at a point in time, I think it was like around when I had my first son, my second born, we decided, hey, we gotta create the space for you to do your thing when you need to do it. Nobody's gonna bother you. You go wherever you need to go. You have your space, and we just gonna do it like that, And but like I said, until we got to that place of having our second child, we didn't know that we needed to do that. We didn't know
Right.
that we didn't know we needed to fight for date nights. We didn't know we needed to do that.
Because we see marriage as fairy tale. We don't know the depths of it. We just know it's gonna be great. That's all we know. It's gonna be great, right? And then you get in it. And it's like, dang, I thought it'll just be awesome. Like it'll be easy to have a date night. You mean to tell me I really got to schedule a date night with my partner, the person I live in the house with?
Yeah,
Yes, you have to schedule it. You got to intentionally pencil it in. Yes, like
yeah.
that's real life stuff. So it's like, man, I don't know, like to try to tie that around to the question. Do you? I don't know. Do you think that people who, man, I don't know, I can't even say that because I think it also depends on the years and experience, though. Because I was going to ask you, do you think that people who they don't pencil that time in, like you and your wife discovered, like pencil, hey, you got to get your you time. I'll take the kids so they don't bother you. You relax, get your girl time on or whatever, and vice versa for you. She'll take the kids, and you do your thing. Go get on a podcast, whatever whatever it is that you want to do. Do you think people who don't have that, are they more like changed or heartbroken if there's a breakup or a divorce, or
Oh, for
like it
sure.
don't matter, like everybody just kind of be changed after a breakup or divorce?
No, I think it's worse when you know you haven't been doing what you enjoy, and you don't get to have your identity the way you want it to be because you're sacrificing for marriage or relationship. I feel like it hurts worse then because you like, man, I sacrificed who I was to make this work.
Oh,
I sacrificed who I was to make this work, and I ain't gonna get that time back. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I can't get that back now. You took that. I think that make you even, and I think that's the more reason why you got to make sure that that's going on.
Mhm.
If you're conscious and aware of it, it's definitely something you should keep doing. What's wrong?
I'm, I'm laughing because as you talking, it's the that Mary J. Blige song where she was the secretary for all these years, and he
Yeah.
finally left her. Now and the song was all about I did all of this for you. And
Hmm.
in the song, it's like I can't even think of the song right now, but y'all will know what she talked about. I was your secretary for however many years, and
Hmm.
you gonna make me have to Google it. But she
Dang,
basically in that song, when you re-listen to it, she was nobody without him. Like everything she did was literally based around helping his career, getting him to the place of being a better man, what he wanted. So when they broke up, she was devastated. What am I gonna do now? I sacrificed everything for you, exactly what you said. And that's what you see a lot of people do with breakups. It's never the other story of it, like, well, I learned this, now I could take this piece, pick this up, and go on and do better. It's always the, man, I could have did this, I could have did that, but no, I did this and I did that because of you. And it's like you gave up everything for the person you thought you was gonna spend eternity with, and you lost who you were. Like you don't know who you are. You don't know what you like no more.
Right.
Just what you see mostly.
I think that's a. I'm not gonna cry. I think that's the name of it. I'm not gonna
That,
cry.
that's it. That's it
Yeah.
right there. Yes. I'm
For
trying to
sure.
over here trying to think of the lyrics, but yeah, baby crying, the whole
Yeah.
song crying. You
Yeah.
lost yourself.
And I don't think people understand that's not the whole point of it. If you're gonna do that, then to me, take it on the chin. If you're gonna do that,
Ooh,
don't complain. If that's what you choose to do that. But that's no one's telling you that you have to do that in order to be with somebody.
yep.
To
Yes.
me, if I was single, well, let me put it like this: when I was single,
Mhm.
I wasn't even conscious of it, but one thing that stood apart from my wife in our relationship that made me realize I'm going to marry her was I could be more of myself with her than with anybody else I had ever dated.
Ooh,
More of me.
that's important.
More of me. Not that I have to sacrifice who I am and change all these things in order to make it work. I can be more of me. I would not have the confidence to get online and give advice and get into these spaces, because before I didn't put it out there like that. Like I wasn't putting myself out there like that. She's the one that gave me the confidence to be Brother Love. She's the one that gave me that. She gave me the not even the confidence. She gave me the space to do that and
Mhm.
discover what that looks like, because she knew how passionate I was about relationships and
Mhm.
dating and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And she was like, you should just do something, like
Yeah.
do something with it, because you ain't watching the game. You over here watching these people talk about love all day, and what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, so you get to do something with that.
Yeah.
But I just know that it's other things that other hobbies and interests I have, that she's never made me feel strange about it, nothing like that. And I don't take that as she cool with everything. I don't That's not
Yeah.
that
I,
ain't the truth.
I'm a woman. I know.
I
Hey,
just want to make sure I put that.
hey, you doing that a little bit too much now. When I'm gonna get my time? Like I know how I go. I know how I go. You
For
know.
sure. I just want to put that. I don't want nobody thinking that it's all good. I can do whatever, and she just cool with everything. Like,
Yeah.
no, that's not it. But she is things that really mean something to me. She encourages for me, and she'll ask me how's it going. I'll let her. I used to let her. I make my posts, and I'd be like, "What you think about this?" And she'll be like, "Okay, that's cool." Like, but she always give me some good feedback on stuff. And I mean, that's to me, when you if you don't want to change, if you don't want to change after whatever situation you have with somebody, then don't go into it losing your identity to begin with.
Mhm.
Okay, don't go into it like that. That's one thing you did, perfectly. Whether conscious or not, going into you never put it on your identity wasn't up for grabs at any point in time. You function like hey, I'm gonna be normal. Like I'm gonna be who you've known me to be, right?
And,
Like,
and I almost did though, because like I said, I was still trying to figure it out. And then I had the church people in my ear. As a wife, this is what you do. And so I was battling that. I was like, well, dang, maybe am I by me not doing X, Y, and Z, is that keeping us divided? But then I'm like, but how does that divide us? So I don't know. I battle with that so much. And, I guess people will be like, well, that's probably why you divorced. Nah, if I wanted to tell my story, y'all know why I'm divorced. It definitely wasn't that. But, look at the people who don't do what I did. You know what I'm saying? End up still
yeah,
divorced. Or in long marriages, like I said, and they in long marriages, but they not respected. They not happy. Like I said, the man been cheating the whole marriage. He got outside kids, or he beating on her. So it's almost like you can't even say that what I did by not putting all my identity into him. You can't even say like, well, maybe that was it. Because what about the ones who didn't do that? Then what about the ones who did put their identity into their man? So man, it's like I think that also helped me when I started doing content to tell people, look, do not lose your individuality. Stop thinking that just because you got a ring, what I'm saying, everything now is going to be peaches and cream. There's still a lot of work to do after that ring,
for
because
sure.
you could also grow apart even in a marriage. So, you got to fight to grow together. So it's like, yes, I'm divorced. I didn't make it for a lifetime, but I have so much lessons still that I learned through it. And even my observation from others that I'm telling you, like, don't do your marriage like nobody else. I'm telling y'all. Like, y'all got to be in alignment so good that you make your own path, because it's going to be hard enough just mixing both of y'all. But
That's
trying to do it like everybody else telling y'all to do too, come on now.
You know what? You just reminded me of something that I was conscious of getting married, and that is, I mean, so you have your identity as an individual, but as a marriage, you have to have your own identity as a marriage as well.
Yes.
You have to have your own identity. You can't do everything like everybody else.
Hmm.
You can't. It's not because you don't function the same way as this married couple or that married
Hmm.
couple. no matter what, belief you have to figure it out what works for you two. So if if me giving you space to do you works for us, that's all that matters is what works for us. You can't let anybody tell you how to. No one can tell me how to be a husband. You can tell me how to be a husband to your wife, not my wife. Okay, like that's the only thing. Like, and I'm not saying that it isn't things that husbands can relate on, because there are things that we can relate on as husbands. But
Hmm.
at the end of the day, I have to be a husband to the woman that I married.
Yep.
Like, and she's not the woman that you married, and you not the man that my wife married.
Hmm.
So, and every married couple has different arguments, different struggles, different things that they your arguments I probably would never argue over. And then you probably look at mine like, that's y'all worse. And that's the beauty of it.
Hmm.
That's the beauty of it all. It's like you look at my problems like, that's your biggest, that's it.
That's it. Like, what you
That's
mean
all
that's it? Hey, what y'all be going through now?
y'all be battling over that. Like that's and I mean it's like that though. Like, and that's why I feel like you have to have your own identity, because you know how your parents had their house and their marriage is not going to be how we do, because we all are different people. We're all you're going to take elements from your family, I'm going to take elements from my family, but at the end of the day we have to decide how this thing is going to function for us. And that's, you have to keep that in mind.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yep.
So yeah, so look, we had an hour now. I ain't gonna press it. I know you you ready. All
We
right.
got these two questions this time though.
We got through two questions. I had a feeling we would. Um, like I said, I didn't know how that first one. I didn't know it was gonna go like that, but it was very, very good. Some very good stuff. I'm curious, how people might respond to some of that. And this ain't nothing my wife ain't already heard. So what I'm saying, I'm cool to talk about whatever. It ain't no thing. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad. Look, I haven't even checked the. Let me see. Yeah, okay, we ain't got no comments, and that's okay. That's all right. But yeah, I'm thankful that you gave me some time tonight. Like I said, this was, man, some really good stuff. I hope the lagging ain't too much. In
Yeah,
this.
and so it was lagging pretty much on my end, but we gonna see what the replay
Yeah.
show, because like the video was lagging, but the audio was not. So
Okay, so that's what I was hearing. I was like, okay, I'm hearing us. I don't see me good. I didn't see none on yours really. Like maybe a few times, but I don't know what's going on with mine today. It just ain't cooperating at all. But
it
um,
happens.
yeah, but yeah, I appreciate you giving your time today. And like I said, I'm a post this. I don't know how to add you as a I don't know how to add you as a what you call that, a collaborator, until after it's published. I don't know how to do it. Like,
Yeah, that's all I know too.
does that?
Yeah, I've never been able to add nobody
Okay,
like
okay.
while we were. Yep. Yeah, it always had to be
Oh, okay,
after.
cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, I don't feel bad then, because I sure was like, man, I don't know how I'm missing like the what space is giving me, but
Yeah, especially when you do a multi, because on Instagram already tag both of us when we're live, so it already do it on its own. But other platforms don't do it like that. So it's almost like when you're using a multi stream, then yeah, it's hard to tag, because some platforms don't let you tag, or so it's like, yeah, it
yeah.
always got to happen like after you post it, kind of. So
Okay, cool. All right. Like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and get this posted. Like I said, yeah, I said you have a good rest of your night. Thanks again for your time, and yeah, I said I'll see you online.
see you next time.
All right.
All right.